Yo, what's up? Real Homies Wanna Know is back at it, and we are on episode number 20. Today, it's gonna be all about the women, so stay tuned.
Real homies wanna know.
Real homies wanna know. Real homies wanna know.
Real homies wanna know.
All right, so y'all, today is International Women's Day, where we celebrate women all over the world and bring awareness to women's equality. And I thought, what better way to celebrate than to interview women of different cultural backgrounds and talk about their aging experience, aging as it relates to their culture, gender bias, and age bias. So we have individuals who represent Trinidad and Tobago, Bangladesh, and Barbados. So let's get to it.
It's kind of like the rules shift with every phase. So when you're younger, you're told to respect your elders at all costs. Just respect your elders and be courteous. When you're maybe in your late teens, early 20s, you start getting nods to, yes, you're independent, you're getting there, but we're still, my parents were very much still involved. And so I was very much kind of forced to meet their expectations in a way. And that didn't sit well with me. Me being a, very anti, continuation of generational trauma. I just broke it off and I said, I'm going to make it clear. I'm going to reach out for what I want. So I personally went against what was taught.
But when I think about aging and how we treat tanties, like the elders, the babas, the tanties, it's a lot of respect. And so I see it like you did your time, you have a lot of wisdom, and now you can just tell us what you want us to do, and we're going to respect you, we're going to love you, and we're going to be there for you and do it.
It's like if it's a party, every old and young, it's all together.
That part.
It's like I'm not going in the corner to go dance with so and so. You dancing or enjoying yourself with everybody, just partying. Everybody is there, all ages. Everybody is there partying. Even like we talk about children's parties where the children, it winds up being adult parties. It's just one big thing. It's not that separate. I see a lot of separateness in a lot of American culture where, okay, the grown-ups can't come here or whatever, but it was just everybody's involved in all the major events in life.
I know it's a different perspective, and when you're younger, the race bias seems to be in your face a lot more. But as you get older, you realize that there is absolute discrimination because of your age. And that didn't hit me until there were particular jobs that I applied for, like with the United Nations, that says you have to be 59 on the day you accept the position. You cannot be older than 59. So there's no interest in, are you the best candidate for the job? There's more of an interest in your age. Of course, I would not have thought of that until I realized I'm 60 and looking at this job because, wow, it's international. I get to live 2 years on the ground in Rwanda. And, oh, but by the way, you're too old. And that's when it starts to hit you. I appreciate that a part of the challenge is I may not feel my age and I may still be looking for opportunities that a 40-year-old may be looking for. And I get that, but I don't think it's anybody's right to tell me that I'm too old for a job. And I find that disrespectful. You know when there is going to be an issue with age when the employer asks when you graduated from high school. Who cares when you graduated from high school? You know, and in fact, if you didn't graduate from high school or get a GED, you wouldn't have the bachelor's, master's, PhD that they're asking for. So when you graduated is immaterial, and that's a way to figure out your age.
When I started to teach high school, I think I was the youngest teacher there. And so people would oftentimes treat me like I was dumb or like I was a child, or like, oh, I thought you were one of the students. One of the students would have on a career dress with heels. Right. Okay. I won teacher of the year, and they were just kind of like, oh, well, I you're just so young and you don't have to say anything to me about winning it. So you don't have to make up this something to just bring up the fact that I am young. Good observation. And so I dealt with it there. And I think after my first year, they were just kind of like, okay, her students' EOG scores are good. Grades are good. She's really good with the kids. I guess we have to shut up.
I've been exposed, particularly in the last 10 years, so you're talking about in my 50s, to positions where there are assumptions made by the males who are the leaders about how women age and how our aging negatively impacts our ability to execute our jobs. But they don't ascribe the same issues to the men, who obviously may have greater issues, but it's an assumed challenge because you are a female. So to me, as someone who is on the other side of the other second half of the century, age-wise, that's a bigger issue for me than race. If I were younger, I can see that race may be the obvious challenge, but as an older person, the gender bias and the age bias first, then the gender bias, then the racial bias. And everyone has different experiences. And of course, I will also have the issue of being in a country that might focus on my foreign accent before it focuses on my credentials. And that I can deal with. That's not even, it's whatever. But the ageism and the age bias and the gender bias, I find them heartbreaking. And that's why, for me, they carry way more weight than the racism. And maybe it's because racism, you live with that every day, but you only get the age bias when you get older. And then there seems to be a symbiotic relationship between the age bias and the gender bias, because they feel older women get tired faster, have memory loss faster. The men make that assumption.
For me and my sister, while my parents claim to say that they claim that we're on an even playing field with my brother, I feel like in many ways they don't stand up to that promise. And so in our house, being a young girl, from my own experience, very much means like I don't have an opinion. I don't have a voice. My opinion doesn't matter as much as my parents' opinion. And so I just listen to them. That's a very consistent theme in our culture and in my family specifically. And when I was finally able to move out for college, that was when they started shifting and they started saying, wow, she can do all these things by herself. Like, that's impressive. But before that, my brother was given all the leeway, all the freedom. However, me and my sister were forced to stay in, not hang out with our friends. We weren't able to have sleepovers. We weren't able to, go out, do all the fun childhood things, and our parents were very much helicopter parents over just the girls, but the son had all the freedom in the world. So that's a big difference right there. And that really affected, the way me and my sister see our parents compared to how my brother sees our parents. How I feel about aging is very much like a result of seeing my sister grow up, my mom age and go through menopause, and all those processes, and her opening up to me about that stuff, which I really appreciate because we're very close and she's like my best friend. And so I really appreciate that direct line of like, this is what I'm gonna be going through. And some mothers are I expect some mothers are closed off about that and they don't really open up about the challenges as much. And I really appreciate my mother being very open about what she experiences, all the challenges and all the good. I'm very familiar with the process. I saw my sister raise 2 kids, and she has 2 precious twins, and watching them grow up and them being so similar to like my spirit, have my energy, like the same childish just joy that I remember having growing up is amazing. So really my family has given me like a template like of everything, what I was, what I will be. So I've never really felt afraid. I more so feel acquainted with the process. And I'm just ready to take it on, whenever, it's an ongoing process. So like, I try not to see it in phases. I try to see it as a spectrum, and that makes things a little easier on me. Just thinking that like all these changes that I'm going through are just nature's course.
If anything, my experiences have made me embrace my age with a passion, but I recognize that I embrace it differently from the average person, or I embrace it differently from how this society says I should embrace it. I am not fazed by the numbers, and I recognize that depending on the time of day, the time of year, the time of month, I may not look my age. I dress according to what I like and not what the society says I should like, or how the society says I should dress at 60. My energy level determines what I do, how long I do it, and which is what allows me to party. I can party all night, even if I crash the next day, but that's my energy level. And the challenges have given me an appreciation for my age, in that I can now do what I want to do and not what this society says I should be doing at this age.
I think my aging process, like one thing that I am realizing, like it has no limitations. Getting older, it's no limit. It's all in your head. As you get older, you can still do what you want to do. But in order to do what you want to do, you need to take care of your body so that you have a body to do what you need to do. So I still look at it as wisdom and knowledge, but I also look at it as just getting to know myself better and taking care of my body.
A lot of the things that I learned from my culture, I think I'm using them more than ever now, as far as herbs and teas and things like that, to help give me that strength for endurance, like things I used to drink growing up, and you never even think twice about it, or like, oof, that again, or you just get used to it. But now it's like the in thing, and so it's like all of those things now that I may have took for granted as a child, just being there, and it's like, okay, this is extending my life now. So I really appreciate being exposed to those things. And now just really reading and researching, have a better understanding of, okay, if I'm going to live long, this is what I need to do. And so I think reading has helped a lot with me understanding age, what it is, and the process of aging. And I had once listened to a yogi lecture saying that the human body has the capability of living 1,000 to 2,000 years. That's how strong the human body is built. So it's like, okay, why is that not happening? So it's what we're doing, our intake. And our intake is not only our foods, it's what we watch, what we listen to, our thoughts. So now it's like, okay, I have to be mindful of all of these different things as I go through this process.
All right, so guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this interview as much as I did with speaking with these women about their experiences and challenges, because that all has an impact on how we age. And I will have the full clip of each of their interviews available on my YouTube page later this week for you to watch everything they had to say. I had to, cut, chop, so the video wouldn't be extremely long. But don't worry, if you want, you can see everything that was discussed, and that'll be up later this week. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have some more videos coming to you soon. And in the meantime, in between time, you be blessed. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.